Blake Neff and Andrew Kolvet are having a meltdown over Joe Kent willing to testify at Tyler Robinson's trial, but it's not only what they say, but how they are saying it which raises questions. Watch.
And so the level of betrayal that I currently feel is dramatic and extreme.
That was Andrew Kolvet, Charlie Kirk's producer and one of his closest friends, reacting to news that Joe Kent, a former intelligence official, is willing to take the stand at Tyler Robinson's trial. And here's what happens. Tyler Robinson's prosecution says that they have overwhelming evidence that he is Charlie Kirk's murderer. And Joe Kent, a former director at the National Counterterrorism Center who investigated the killing from inside the government, recently told a journalist that he's willing to testify at the trial, even if his testimony ends up helping the defense. Now, I want to be transparent. I believe Tyler Robinson is guilty. I've said that publicly. I even wrote an article on X outlining the overwhelming evidence that points exactly where the prosecution says it does. That he acted alone or that other people could have prior knowledge of his actions, that is a question that I have myself. I have also analyzed Andrew Kolvet before and something didn't sit right with me at the time, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. So when two people I'm rooting for react to potential testimony like it's the end of the world, that did not sit right with me for reasons that you're about to find out. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and something happens in this clip that goes beyond frustration. See if you can spot it.
Some people are so obsessed with these same conspiracies that they concoct for every other thing that ever happens. And so they have to shove it into this one too, because they care more about their conspiracy theories than about the person who murdered my friend facing justice. I am fed up with it.
Did you catch his right hand, index and middle fingers extended, jabbing forward on every single word? That gesture is a pointer. It's accusatory. You use it when you're not just expressing frustration, you're prosecuting someone in your head. That is like a sustained aggression, and the target is not even in the room. It's more than obvious that Neff is upset. The real question is, why? Why would he be upset? But watch what comes next from Kolvet, because the energy shifts completely. There's a body language tell in the first 2 seconds of this clip. Watch.
And this is, I mean, this is a tough job for us today, to be honest, because this is really personal. I have been open to everything. I think.
Did you see it? He closed his eyes hard right before his first word. That is a pacifying gesture. His brain needed a moment to organize a response that hadn't formed yet, and the stuttering confirms it. This is a tough job. 3 false starts in one sentence. He doesn't know where to begin. Then he lands on, I have been open to everything, with a head shake. Quick note here. In the United States and most of the Western world, a head shake doesn't always mean negation. It can mean emphasis. And here, the shake lands right on the word everything. So this is emphasis, not denial. He's selling his own open-mindedness, and that's not unusual in itself. But listen to what comes right after.
Candidly, I don't get enough credit for even the fact that I shared these group chats in the first place. We shared a lot of information about trans.
I don't get enough credit. Stop. That is not the language of grief. That is the language of someone keeping score. In the middle of talking about a murder friend's trial, his attention goes to how he is perceived, to whether the public recognizes his contribution. And that disconnect between the emotional weight of the topic and the self-referential framing is exactly the kind of thing that makes an audience uneasy, even if they can't name why, and even if we are rooting for him in the first place. But then, out of nowhere, Kolvet introduces a topic nobody brought up.
I heard over the course of the last 2 years of Charlie's life, probably about 50 references of how he knew the trans Tifa was going to come after him. And he was worried about that. That's the truth. Never mentioned one time about the Jews. Okay? Never once.
Nobody in that room asked about Jewish people. Nobody on their show raised it. Or at least I don't remember Joe Kent, the subject of this discussion, saying that the Jews did it. So when someone introduces a denial you didn't request, pay attention. It tells you which accusation lives rent-free in their mind. That is the preemptive deflection, answering the question before anyone asks it. And it almost always reveals more than it conceals because it shows you exactly what they're worried about even when you were not. Which brings us to the concept of the straw man fallacy. A straw man is when you argue against a version of someone's position that they never actually held. Instead of addressing what the person really said, you build a weaker, distorted version of their argument. A man made of straw and knock that down instead. It's one of the oldest tricks in rhetoric, and what comes next is a textbook example of it in real time. Here's Kolvet describing the prosecution's evidence against Tyler Robinson.
And it's a mountain of evidence, some of which has been made public, some of which has not been made public yet. And the prosecution is going to lay out its case against Tyler Robinson. And I'm told it's a whopper. I'm told they've got this guy dead to rights.
A mountain, a whopper. Those are his own words. Now listen to how he frames what Joe Kent did.
And meanwhile, you have government officials that are now saying on the record to journalists they are willing to testify on behalf of the defense to get, ostensibly, to get Tyler Robinson off the hook for something that he did.
To get Tyler Robinson off the hook for something that he did. There is your straw man. Because that is not what Joe Kent said. Kent did not volunteer to be a defense attorney. He did not say Robinson is innocent. In fact, he told Tucker Carlson that Robinson maybe is a lone gunman after all. What he actually said when interviewed by Michael Schellenberger is that he's willing to testify even if that testimony helps the defense. Those are two fundamentally different positions. And Kolvet knows the difference. He is a media professional. He builds narratives for a living. So when he reframes Kent's position from willing to testify into trying to get a killer off the hook, that is a choice. And here's the question I ask on X that I still don't have an answer to. If the case against Tyler Robinson is as ironclad as Kolvet himself says it is, how can one man's testimony threaten it? These are the interesting questions that spark when we are analyzing human behavior, and the best way to have a head start in not only how to read people, but knowing how to channel your own emotions, project solid body language, and become manipulation-free is my book, Body Language in 40 Days. My complete guide to body language and persuasion, available on Kindle and paperback. Make sure to check the link in the description or scan the QR code. Now, this is a good time to hear Kent's actual words. According to the Michael Schellenberg interview of Joe Kent, Kent said he knew that he might be called as a witness before he made his statements that a foreign nexus may have been involved in Kirk's assassination. Quote, "I was definitely warned of that over and over again," said Kent. Quote, "If I end up having to play that role, then I will do it. It's not something I'm seeking." And when pressed that his testimony could help the Robinson defense, Kent said, quote, "Then, honestly, so be it. If it gets us to the truth, that's obviously the risk I'm taking." Despite I don't trust a guy that has one position now and does a 182 months later, as I exposed on a previous video, we have to go with his actual words. He found the lone shooter theory challenging, and that's an opinion, and one shared by plenty of reasonable people. He didn't declare a conspiracy. He didn't accuse anyone. He said the work wasn't finished. Sadly, implying that he couldn't finish his investigation opens the gates for a lot of theories. Compare that measured tone to the escalation you just watched from Neff and Kolvet. Betrayal, dramatic, extreme, bridge too far, line in the sand. The gap between what Kent actually said and the reaction produced is striking. And body language reads differently when people's response is 10 times louder than the stimulus. Now, I want to talk directly to Andrew Kolvet. Andrew, if you're watching, the next part is for you.
The idiocy that is on full display, we have to call it out, because if this ends up screwing up the jury pool, if this ends up in some ways getting a hung jury, getting a getting this case thrown out, or even just getting the death penalty off the case, off the potential list of consequences here. I'm not going to be happy with that.
Notice where his eyes go. Down. Every few seconds. Down. He's checking notes or reading from a screen. And I get it. The topic is complex. It's live. You want the details right. But here's the problem. When you talk about betrayal, justice, and a murdered friend while your eyes keep dropping to the desk, you disconnect from the audience. It reads as evasive. It reads as rehearsed. And for someone who is already under fire from conspiracy theorists looking for any sign of deception, that is the worst possible signal to send. So, free coaching. When the topic is this personal, you look at the camera. You look at Blake. You look at anyone. What you have to say matters. And the way you're delivering it is undermining your own message. I want Tyler Robinson to face the full weight of justice. I believe the evidence supports exactly what the prosecution says it does. And I think the conspiracy theories around this case have been, for the most part, garbage. The exploding mic one should have an Oscar to most brain rot theory ever. But when two people who should have nothing to fear from testimony react like they just received the worst news of their lives, you tell me what that means. Because a trial is designed to withstand scrutiny. Witnesses are part of the process, and being angry that someone wants to testify is a strange hill to plant your flag on, especially when you're already standing on a mountain of evidence. With this topic, people ask why I haven't analyzed Erica Kirk. Wrong. I have analyzed her before, and here's the video. And now that we're here, maybe you should take a look at my last video on Candace Owens. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Much love and bliss.